Welcome back to the 8th episode in the series Why the Guitar is the Best Instrument in the World. Yes, from here on in, I'm going to continue with this series. I'm going to continue making videos, but I'm going to start giving you different formats. I'm going to get more in-depth into playing. And in this episode, I'm handing the torch over to you. I'm going to give you the keys for you to unlock the door and walk through into the world of music all on your own. But don't worry, you see, in the past 7 episodes, I have given you all the tools and material you need to survive on your own in the world of music. And it all began in the first episode where I stressed the importance of tuning your ears into the sounds. When you're tuning your guitar, you're automatically learning the starting points to each string. You're being introduced to each string, and more importantly, you're being introduced to the sounds of each string. And also in that first episode, I started giving you those sweet spots. In the second episode, I explained to you that it's not practice, which is very closely related to work. It's not that, you see. We're playing. The more you play, the better you get. Just like everything else in life. Just like those video games or those sports or cooking. Anything you do more of, you get better at. We're playing. And also, I mentioned briefly, but I didn't really get into explaining it clearly, that while you're playing the guitar, you're also reflecting. And think of it the same as you use the mirror, you see. You go to the mirror to see what you cannot see. You go to the musical instruments to hear what you cannot normally hear coming from you. And that's why the guitar is such a beautiful instrument, because you make the sounds. It's not a pre-programmed thing like on a keyboard, where the sounds are already programmed and you simply push a button. The guitar, you actually have to feel. Remember, the sweet spots. You have to feel for them. You squeeze down on those notes. Not too hard though. You don't need to put too much force into this. And you're making the notes. So those are the first 2 steps, yeah? Tuning your ears and learning how to play. And I gave you certain little techniques to use as well with your fingers on how to make cool sounds. In the 3rd episode, it was all about establishing ownership of your guitar. It's your guitar now. And the ownership is here, the way you hug it. Embrace the guitar with this hand, the master hand. And I gave you 6 very important exercises to use in order to build on the ownership skills of this hand. In the 4th episode, I was bringing the 2 hands, the master and the slave, the heart beat and the blood cells, and how they have to work together. Okay. In the 5th episode, which was the turning point, very important episode, because I explained to you that each string has 2 best friends, and those 2 best friends are identified, the 5th fret and 7th fret. In the 6th episode, I showed you how, when you're exploring these points on the guitar fretboard, hearing the sounds, hearing the repetition of these sounds, how to combine them together and create melody and accompaniment. In the 7th and most recent episode, I gave you 2 games to play. One, very simple. It's sort of like thinking of it as a finger race up and down the guitar neck. And the second game is really exploring and identifying with your ears, not with your eyes, what is minor and what is major. And it's time that you start to develop the understanding of what these terms are, but not by word definition, but by sound definition. That is what is key. So here in the 8th episode, I'm going to bring it all together. All this material and all these tools that I've given you to go through the door yourself and start exploring. And don't worry, I'm not leaving you completely on your own. I will be here to help you along the way still. I'm only a click and a couple of key types away. The strings that we've been basically talking about from the very beginning, E, A, and D, are generally defined as the bass strings. And the G, B, and E are your treble strings, bass and treble. And in the 2nd episode, I explained that these strings, when you organize them alphabetically, from lowest sound to the highest sound, and you will discover this scale. And the same frets can be applied to each string to produce the same scale. Now in the 5th episode, where I told you that each string has 2 best friends, and they are found at the 5th and the 7th fret. But what's even more interesting here is that if you took note, that when you found who are the 2 best friends for A, as an example, I'll tell you the answer so you don't have to think right now. It's D and E. D is at the 5th fret and E is at the 7th fret, where the 2 dots are. Now what's very interesting here is that all along each string, his 2 best friends are actually sitting beside him the way that the strings are organized as well. And this is another reason why the guitar is the best instrument in the world, because in all songs and in most melodies, these are the points that you're playing between. Now I'm going to give you an example, a very famous example of how these best friends and this scale itself are used. All right, just one example, but there's many. There's thousands out here, but this is one of the best because it is one of the guitar's greatest students, Eric Clapton. So here on the D string, this is the D minor pentatonic scale I've written out. They're the notes found at the same frets as the E. Okay, they're the same frets. But if I go backwards, and I'm just going to add one note, the note that's in between the A and the G. I'm just going to add him when I play this out. But most people recognize this song, and this is all it is. It's taking this scale and going backwards. Sunshine of Your Love. And what's really cool is that it changes to the string below it. Alright? You can do it on any string, really. Always the same frets. It's just simply taking the scale and going backwards. That's one example of how often you will find this. The more you explore yourself, learning the songs that you've always been attracted to hearing, or even better, thinking of what it is you want to do, you will discover that it's very simple to write songs. It's not very difficult at all. Actually, working you horizontally all along in these 7 episodes. But now in this 8th episode, the repetition, the continuation of the cycle, going all over again. Working vertically now on the guitar, you're going to see not only how it is built and designed to play music and songs, but also how it is built and designed to teach you music theory, and not writing or reading music, but hearing music. You see, most guitarists that I know, and most of them that are famously known and recognized, have never had a theory lesson. They don't know how to read or write music, but they know how to play music. And it's the guitarists that really figure this out well on their own, because this instrument is teaching you all along. Hear. What you hear is a signal directly to the brain that's telling you something, and you relate to and resonate with naturally. This series I've brought to you so far, these tools and materials, the first 7 episodes, and now here in the 8th episode, I'm telling you, I'm handing you the torch, I'm giving you the key, I'm saying, walk through that door and explore on your own. I know sometimes you might feel uncertain of what's going on. Maybe you don't feel confident enough to really take ownership of these things that I've explained to you this far. And I've mentioned before that there are thousands of websites, YouTube guitar lessons that you can find that will help you in seeing the more perspective of ways to approach this instrument. But if you like my approach and you like the way that I've been explaining it thus far, I'm going to give you some more information here. This Anthony-Kelly.com is my website, and you can contact me directly, and we could always set up private one-on-one guitar lesson where I can really just focus exactly what it is you want to do, how you want to do it, and focus directly on your questions, your concerns, your difficulties. I can also see exactly what are your strengths to build on those strengths to go further. It is my main motivation of doing this series to bring music into your life, because music really does enrich one's life, not just personally, but also socially. And I want nothing more than to be able to share this information as much as I can with people. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you know of other people that are interested in getting involved and into music, in the study of the guitar specific, share the video with them. Pass this along. Leave me comments, or if you really want to get involved directly, privately, and more personally, go to Anthony-Kelly.com. Contact me directly. These 7 episodes, and now this 8th episode, has been about introducing you to the guitar, introducing you to why this instrument is the best in the world. That is the purpose and point of this whole series. And now that we've come full cycle around, I'm going to start bringing you more in-depth, specific ways to play the guitar, more in playing the guitar, not so much the introductions are over. All right, like the channel, thumbs up, subscribe, share, and as always, stay tuned.